Hey, quick heads up. I'm going to read an excerpt from my book, and there's some strong language in there. I mean, it's not like wall-to-wall expletives or anything, but there are a few curse words. If that's not a fit for your sensibilities, please check out some of my other videos. They're not all full of curse words, promise. Hi, this is Karol Ruth Silverstein. I am the author of Cursed, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about beginnings today. So I started my novel in a way that actually a lot of writing classes and instructors will tell you, don't do that. Don't, have your character looking in the mirror and describing herself. So she's not actually looking in the mirror, but she is just directly letting the reader know some stuff about her. And the reason I decided to do this is because Ricky is what's known as an unreliable narrator, which means that you can't rely on the information she's telling you. Some of it is false. Much of it is just her interpretation of things. And I liked it because it was funny and it let you know her attitude and how she's dealing with or not dealing with, as it were, this new situation that she finds herself in. So I'm going to read a little bit for you. She starts out in chapter 1, which is called The Me I Am Now. Here's the basic info on me, the me I am now anyway. 1, I currently live with my dad in his one-bedroom bachelor pad, aka Dr. Dad's batch pad. He obviously wasn't thinking about me or my older sister Danny when he rented this place. All there is for us to sleep on when we visit is the lumpy pull-out couch and his poor excuse for a living room. Right after Thanksgiving, the disaster formerly known as my parents decided I should live here. For my own good, they said. Now I'm riding the sofa bed from hell full time, and Danny's so busy at college studying every second she's not burning up the basketball court, she hardly ever visits. 2, I'm 14 and I'm in middle school. I kid you not. I was in high school like a normal 14-year-old back in the beginning of the year before I got shipped to my dad's. Now I'm enrolled in Glorious Grant Middle School, the only 7, 8, 9 school left in Philadelphia, maybe the only one left in the country. It was the only school close to the batch pad that the disaster formerly known as my parents could get me into mid-year. 3, speaking of Glorious Grant Middle School, I haven't actually attended classes since the last week of December, which was about 6 weeks ago. No one knows, not Mom, not Dr. Dad, not even Danny. Soon enough, my secret will be out, and if I'm lucky, my parents will just kill me. If I'm not, they'll force me to go back to Glorious Grant Middle School, where I may or may not still be able to pass 9th grade. 4, my life seriously sucks, in case you haven't picked up on that yet. And it's not just living with Dr. Dad and going to middle school even though I'm 14 or some other bullshit, like the boy I'm crushing on isn't crushing back. Trust me, my particular life suckage is on a whole different level. And for the record, the boy I was crushing on was totally crushing back until I got sick. 5, about that, I have this pathetic disease. Never mind what it's called. If I told you, you'd laugh and think I was joking. That's what Crush Boy did right before he ghosted me. I did an internet search 3 months ago when I was first diagnosed, and what it turned up was so depressing, I decided the less I knew, the better. Worse yet, pretty much no one gives a crap about this boring-ass disease. It's not something that would prompt my classmates to shave their heads in solidarity or have a bake sale for me. I doubt it's ever trended on Twitter. It's just this embarrassing, painful, fucked up thing I have. 6, and yeah, I curse. Deal with it. So that's Ricky's little list. That's what she wants you to know about her when the story starts. And you'll learn that a lot of that is just how she sees her life through the lens of this horribly painful condition she finds herself in. And I invite you to do a little writing exercise. Make a list about yourself. It's called The Me I Am Now. You can do about, 5, 6 things. And create a portrait of who you are. Now you can do it straightforward, you can make it funny, you can make it mysterious, you can completely lie and be deceptive. Whatever it is, it's a creative project. You can approach it whatever way inspires you. So write your list and see. Maybe you'll have fun with it. I hope you have fun with it. Thanks for listening.
In Southern California, I was finally able to get some breathing room. I was no longer tethered to the 1970s and endless tributes to the Doors and Led Zeppelin. In Pasadena, home to surfer-friendly new wave radio station K-Rock, I not only stepped into the light, so to speak, but also into the present day, the techno 80s. I imagine that the person who suffered most at this juncture was my brother. Alone in New Jersey, John had no choice but to keep my mother going, despite the worsening of her condition and her increasing symptoms. Less capable of doing things for herself, she knew my departure was a condemnation of some sort, an indication that something was indisputably wrong. She took my defection badly and as punishment tossed my small library of paperback books from my bedroom bookcase into the trash. While my father spent his time at Caltech completing the designs for the Mauna Kea submillimeter radio telescope, I attended Blair High School, one of California's fabled troubled institutions. Its open-air plan, abutting the Arroyo Seco Parkway, suffered from the lack of oversight and rampant neglect associated with white flight from the public school system that came along with mandatory busing and desegregation in the 1970s. Little was being taught in these classrooms. Whites were in the minority, racial tensions ran high, but were especially pronounced between Latino and African American students. The after-school race wars were legendary. On one side of Marengo Avenue, the young male Latino students would gather in the customary garb of chinos and white undershirts. The black students, similarly shirted but in jeans, lined up on the other side of the street with chains and fiberglass nunchucks, while the white kids, heirs to Spanish-style and green homes, with their San Marino girlfriends and other elite privileges, slipped safely out of the parking lot in Volkswagen Rabbits, Jeeps, vintage collectibles, sensible Toyotas, averting their gaze from the daily tensions that erupted between the gangs. Education being entirely stratified, AP classes were almost exclusively white, but for one or two African American or Asian students. Pasadena was, in short, a powerful microcosm of racial inequality in America. By the end of my senior year, reading Engels along with a like-minded friend, I had become a budding Marxist.
The fall of a few close friends. It's hard to talk to a friend you know will be burned. We sit in a mall and talk eats. He plans for battles. He forces me to think of my own impending defeats. He bites his hot dog, speaks of other friends distant. We count the nails in the coffin. My friend, he decides to leave, overdue to see his woman friend. He has to get there by bus. I stand watching, wondering when he realizes he has no bus money.
Hi, I'm Dana Middleton, middle grade author and a member of the LitFest Pasadena Planning Committee.
And I'm her husband, Pete Atkins, and I write horror. For 8 years, LitFest Pasadena has proudly celebrated SoCal books and authors.
But last year, like so many other events, we were forced to cancel. We're thrilled to be back this year with literary panels, discussions, readings, and so much more.
But there's nothing like being in person, kind of like there's nothing like holding a book in your hands. If anything, the past year has taught us how important storytelling is.
So help LitFest Pasadena continue the celebration of authors and storytelling by donating today. It's our nonprofit mission to nurture and spotlight writers from Pasadena and beyond.
To support, just click below. And thank you.